What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a Hunter's Guide to Monster Hunter Wilds. In this video, I'll be bringing you builds to farm Flamefete tickets. Now before we get into this, if you find these videos helpful or informative, please consider leaving a like on it, as well as subscribing to the channel, as it allows me to bring you more videos like this, as well as helping me personally in terms of mental health and such. But let's jump into this. Now, Flamefete tickets are an item that you can collect and farm during the Flamefete Festival, basically the summer event in Monster Hunter Wilds. They can be used to craft various armor pieces and other miscellaneous items, but they're not always guaranteed to drop from hunts, and obtaining them via other means takes time. However, with a certain build, you can increase your chances of farming these significantly. And so with that, I present to you the Flamefete build. Like I said, this build is designed at farming the Flamefete tickets during the summer festival. This build also comes in 4 flavors, so to speak. It's basically the same armor combination, but the decorations change slightly depending on what weapon you prefer to use. So this build video will be set up and presented slightly differently to normal build videos I do. As mentioned, this build can be used with pretty much any weapon in the game, so it can be catered to fit your own personal favourite, and it also deals increased damage during the actual Flamefete Festival, but outside of that Summerfest, this build isn't really going to be that optimal. So first of all, if you're using the Greatsword, Sword and Shield, Hammer, Hunting Horn, Lance, Gun Lance, Switch Axe, Charge Blade, Insect Glaive, Light Bowgun or Heavy Bowgun, you'll want to go with the following. First of all, you'll want the Ray Sandhelm Gamma, which is the Radau Gamma Helm. This can be replaced if you wanted to with the Numinous Crown, which is the Zoshia Helm, but I personally found the Ray Sandhelm better. Afterwards, you want the Aphy Top, the Aphy Arm Guards, the Aphy Wrap, and the Aphy Sandals. These are pieces of the Flamefete armor that you can craft. It will require 4 Flamefete tickets to craft these pieces, but you should be able to get those with limited bounties or even login bonuses. But once you have 4 pieces of the Aphy armor set, you'll be good to go. Afterwards, for your charm, I've used an exploited charm, and your mantle is down to personal preference. Moving on to the decorations, I've gone for a tenderizer decoration, a jumping decoration, which can be replaced with something like a mighty decoration if you wanted more affinity, but the jumping jewel I've used is more for quality of life and to counter the weapons that have slow mobility like the Gun Lance, Switch Axe, Heavy Bowgun and Greatsword. Afterwards, I've simply gone for 3 protection jewels to max out Divine Blessing. As for the jewels on the weapons, mainly take the jewels that best suit the weapon you're using. So for example, here with the Switch Axe, I'm using critical jewels and enhancer jewels. If you're using the Gun Lance, you might want to take magazine and artillery jewels. So when it comes to the weapon decorations, use what is best for your weapon personally. So if you've done what I've done here, when it comes to the skills, you'll have the following. First of all, you'll have your weapon skills, so I've got Critical Boost at level 5, Power Prolonger at level 3, and Handicraft at level 1, but we're not really focusing on the weapon skills here, we're more focusing on the armor skills. So first of all, you'll have Burst at level 5, to which continuously landing hits on a monster will gradually increase our attack and elemental attack. This works better with faster hitting weapons, but it can still be used by pretty much every weapon in the game. This is also a byproduct of wearing 4 pieces of the Aphy armor set. Next up, you'll have Weakness Exploit at level 4. It would have been nice to get this to level 5, but Weakness Exploit at level 4 is still useful. Basically, this increases our affinity when we're attacking monster weak points. And should there be a wound on that weak point, it will increase that affinity bonus even more, up to a potential 50%. Next up, you'll have Divine Blessing at level 3, which is a quality of life skill that gives you a chance at taking reduced damage should you take a hit from a monster. You can drop this if you want to, and on some of the variations of this build, which we'll talk about in a moment, I have dropped Divine Blessing. Next up, you have Blast Resistance at level 3, a byproduct of the armor we're wearing. Blast Resistance is basically a skill that negates Blast Blight on our hunter. Unfortunately, not many foes use Blast Blight at the time of this video in Monster Hunter Wilds. Anyway, next up you have Heroics at level 1, another byproduct of the armor we're wearing. Basically, when our health is 35% or lower, it will increase our attack power and defenses. But for the most part, unless you're extremely skilled, Heroics is a skill that, for the average player and for casual hunts, I don't really recommend. But it's on the armor, so it's kind of an extra bonus should our health drop that low. You'll then have Maximum Might at level 1. which is a skill that when we have full stamina will gain increased affinity. You'll then have fire resistance at level 1, which increases our fire resistances. You'll then have stamina surge at level 1, which speeds up how quickly we can restore our stamina. This works well in unison with maximum might. You'll then have evade extender at level 1, a result of the jumping decoration. You can replace this if you wanted to. For example, you could increase maximum might a little bit more, but for the most part I find evade extender a useful quality of life skill and helps counter some of the weapons that have slow mobility, as mentioned before in this video. Finally, you'll have Bombardier at level 1, which increases the damage of explosive items like barrel bombs. But the main event of this build is the Flamefete Prayer, which is the set bonus for wearing 4 pieces of the Flamefete armor set. Basically, during the Flamefete, when you complete quests, it will add special items to the quest rewards, which include Flamefete tickets, as well as Flamefete vouchers and beach barrel bombs. Additionally, for wearing 4 pieces of the set, it will greatly boost your attack and defense during the Flamefete Festival itself, countering the fact that we don't have much customization with this build when it comes to decorations and such. This allows us to basically take on most hunts quite comfortably and farm those tickets and other items. The exception may be taking on some of the harder quests like 8-star Tempered Seregios, Legiacrus, Gormagala, so on and so forth, but for casual farming, this is an amazing skill to farm those tickets. You'll also finally have Festival Spirit for wearing 3 pieces of this Flamefete armor set, which gives you Carving Master, which allows you to carve 1 additional time from carcasses during quests. Now, like I said, this build is for the Greatsword, Sword and Shield, Hammer, Hunting Horn, Gunlance, Lance, Switch Axe, Charge Blade, Light Bowgun, Insect Glaive, and Heavy Bowgun. There are slight variations to this build if you're using the Longsword, Dual Blade, and Bow. So let's quickly address those. So first of all, with the Longsword, the main changes come with the decorations, everything else remains the same. And when it comes to the decorations, you want to replace the Evade decoration with a Mighty Duel to give us 2 points in maximum might instead of just 1, as well as drop in Evade Extender. The main reason for this is because the Longsword, whilst not the fastest weapon with your weapon drawn, has a lot of counter mechanics, so you don't really have to avoid attacks rolling out the way and having that extended dodge thanks to having that Evade Extender. Next up, you want to replace the protection decorations with sheath decorations. These will max out Quick Sheath, a skill that allows you to sheath your weapon incredibly quickly, which is almost essential for the Longsword as it applies to the special sheath mechanic that the weapon has. Next up are the Dual Blades, which the main changes come with the decorations again. First of all, we'll replace the Evade decoration with a Refresh decoration. This will give us 2 points in Stamina Surge, allowing our stamina to restore itself even quicker. This is because the Dual Blades are a stamina reliant weapon and we'll want to get our stamina back as quickly as possible. The Dual Blades also don't have mobility issues and can dodge quite far by default, thus eliminating the need for Evade Extender. I've then gone for replacing the protection decorations and adding sprinter decorations instead. Sprinter decorations will give us maxed out marathon runner, which reduces the stamina usage when we're in modes that consume stamina gradually over time, like demon mode, allowing us to stay in that powered up form for longer periods of time. Apart from that, everything else remains the same. Finally, we have the bow, which in a way can also be applied to the Insect Glaive, as well as the Dual Blades again. The main changes come in the form of the decorations again, so we've replaced the Evade Extender decoration, the Jumping decoration, with another Refresh decoration to give us 2 points in Stamina Surge, allowing us to restore our stamina more quickly. And then I've replaced the Protection decorations with Physique decorations to give us 3 points in the Constitution skill. This basically reduces the cost of actions that consume stamina, which in the case of the bow is pretty much almost every single shot you do. Constitution at level 3 topped up with Dash Juice should give you an equivalent to having Constitution at level 5. You can also consider using the Black Belt Mill skill if you're able to get it. Like I said, you could apply this version of this build to the Insect Glaive as well, especially if you preferred to use the aerial Insect Glaive playstyle. But there we have it, that is the basic version of the Flamefete build, used to farm the Flamefete tickets during the summer seasonal event. But every build out there comes with various pros and cons, and this is no different. First of all, the biggest pro for this build is it can be used to farm Flamefete tickets and more during the summer seasonal event. On top of that, during the Flamefete Festival, you have increased attack and defenses when wearing this outfit. And then finally, this build is quite interchangeable and can be used with pretty much any weapon in the game. But unfortunately there are cons. One of the biggest cons for this build is it's pretty much very subpar outside of the Flamefete itself. And the other con is it still won't potentially give you a good advantage when taking on the harder content in the game, so that's something to be aware of. You want to bust out your higher end builds for when taking on the likes of your 8-star tempered monsters. But regardless, if you're looking to farm the Flamefete tickets over the next few weeks, as well as when the Flamefete returns in the following years, I'd strongly recommend this build. It's kind of a little bit of a jack of all trades, and I wish it had a few more decoration slots, but nonetheless, it's useful during this summer event. But what are your thoughts? Please leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another build for Monster Hunter Wilds. Hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.